Morning, everyone who have attended. Thank you so much for joining early. We will wait for around 10 to 15 minutes for more people to join, and we will start our session. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the session. My name is Kavisha Pancholi, and I work with the Expo School Program team. We're just waiting for a few more people to join in. So in the next 15, maybe 17 minutes, because the session starts at 10 o'clock, we'll be starting the session. In the meantime, in case you have any questions, you have a chat box on your right-hand side. You can just drop in your message there, and we'll be able to answer you as soon as we get that message. Mr. Rashid is asking me if our mics will be muted. Yes, the mics will be muted throughout the session. Just for better connectivity, your mics and your videos will be closed off. Um, and yeah, so just give us another 15 minutes and we will get started. Thank you so much. Also, I see that some people are saying, is it normal? I think there is some lagging that's happening. So I'm going to share a link with you. We're also streaming live on YouTube. In case in case you're having difficulties on this platform, I'm just sharing the YouTube link, and you can see the same presentation on the YouTube channel as well. Okay, so I'll share that link in just about a second. So here's that YouTube link in case you have any issues. Thank you. So again, a lot of people are asking if their mics will be muted. Yes, the mics will be muted and the camera will be closed off for this session. This session is just about is just for an hour, so it will start at 10 o'clock and we will go on till about 11 o'clock. And you won't be able to see some other attendees as well, but we have quite a few people joining in, so we have a big number of people joining in. So thank you everybody for joining in, and we will start the session shortly. In case you have any questions, again, you see the chat box on your right hand side. You can just put in your question there and we will try to answer them as soon as possible. All right, thank you very much, and we will start in just about 15 minutes. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the session Expo 2020 Young Innovators Hyperspeed Edition. My name is Kavisha Pancholi, and I'm working with the Expo School Program team. We will be starting the session in the next 5 minutes, just waiting for a few more people to join in. A lot of you are asking till what time is this session going to be. So we will start at 10 o'clock and the session will end at around 11 o'clock. It's a 1 hour session. And a lot of you are also asking that you can't see people who are attending, or you can't unmute, or you can't switch on your cameras. So just for better connectivity purposes, you will not be able to switch on your mics or your camera, and will not be able to see how many other people are attending the session with you. But just to let you know, we have a lot of people joining in. We have around 400 people that have already joined in. And I know a lot of you are streaming this in your classrooms as well. So hello to everybody who are in their schools and are seeing this session. And in case you have any questions, just see the chat box on your right-hand side. You can drop a text there, and I'll be able to answer your question. Also, if you're having some sort of technical issues on this platform, we're also streaming live on YouTube. So you can just click on the YouTube link. I will share the link with you in just about a second. So you can click on that link to see the session. Okay. Thank you. We'll start in just about 4 minutes. We'll start in 4 minutes. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the session Expo 2020 Young Innovators Hyperspeed Edition. My name is Kavisha Pancholi, and I work with the Expo School Program team. We are just about to start the session. Just give me another 2 minutes, just waiting for just a few more people to join in. But in 2 minutes, we will start the session. Again, for all the people who have joined in just right now, your mics will be unmuted throughout the your mics will be muted throughout the session. You will not be able to switch on your camera, and you will not be able to see how many people or your friends have joined in or not. But let me tell you, we have almost close to 400 to 500 people who have um, joined the session. We're just waiting for a few more people to join in. In case you have any technical issues, you're not able to hear me, in that case, you can just go to our YouTube channel, which I will post now, and you can see it live from there because we're streaming live on YouTube as well. So just give us another 2 minutes and we will get started. All right, thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the session, Expo 2020 Young Innovators Hyperspeed Edition. My name is Kavisha Pancholi, and I work with the Expo School Program team. We are about to start the session. I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, Nisha Childs, who's going to be taking you through this wonderful session. So over to you, Nisha.
Thank you, Kavisha, and thank you for everybody for joining us today. Welcome to all of our young innovators. My name is Nisha, as Kavisha just said, and I'm part of the Expo School Program team. So we're very excited to have you here for this Young Innovators Hyperspeed Edition workshop. So I'm really excited to be here today and tell you the stories about Expo and to meet you all. And I'm sure we're all going to have a really fantastic session. You'll be able to unlock the power of your imagination, and by the end of it, you'll all become young innovators. So that sounds amazing, doesn't it? So in this session, let me just move the slides forward. We are going to see and learn about what is an expo. Over the years, Expo has showcased innovations that have become part of our everyday lives. So what is an innovation? So we're going to learn about that too. And also, we're going to learn how you can develop your own innovation. And at the end of the session, I'll give you the details of how you can share with us your own ideas. So after this session, we'd really like you to try and have a go at creating your own innovations. And then I will share with you how you can let us know about your innovations as well. So before we get started, let me just go over the housekeeping just one more time. So your microphone and your cameras will be turned off throughout the session. This is just to make sure that everyone can hear me clearly and Kavisha clearly when we're talking. And we do have a few videos that we want to show you. So we want to make sure that everyone can see and hear them clearly. The chat box is turned off for most of the time, but I will be asking you questions throughout the session. And when I do, we'll turn the chat box on and you'll be able to answer your questions in there. So you can answer them individually if you're on your own at home, or if you're within your classroom, you can answer them as a group. We'll give you enough time to confer with each other as well. And finally, of course, the most important thing is to have some fun. So are we all ready to carry on? So let's go. My first question to you is, what is a World Expo? Now, I don't want you to write the answer into the chat box, but I'm going to give you a few seconds to confer if you're in a classroom or if you're on your own, just to have a think about it. Think about what you and your group, your friends and your colleagues think an expo is. What is a World Expo? So is it something small? Is it something big? Is it, how can it be different around the world? Have a really good chat amongst your friends and see what you can come up with. And I think you've had a little bit of time now, so let's see if your answer matches this definition that I've got on the screen now. So World Expos are festivals of imagination and innovation where people come together from all over the world to showcase their ideas, inventions, culture, and history. Now, that might not be clear from that explanation what that means, so let me explain the history of World Expos. That will give you a really good idea as to understanding what that means. So the very first World Expo happened in London in 1851. It was called the Great Exhibition. Now, its actual full title was the Great Exhibition of the Works and Industries of All Nations. Now, that's a bit of a mouthful, so that's why people just call it the Great Exhibition now. And it was held in London, and it was a chance for lots of countries around the world to show off. That's all it was. They constructed a huge building called the Crystal Palace, where the exhibition was held. And that building was built in just 9 months by over 2,000 workmen. The people of London at the time had never seen such an amazing building before. It was actually the idea of Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, who was a big fan of showcasing new and amazing innovations. And here he is in this picture with Queen Victoria in their very fancy looking clothes. Now, the exhibition was a huge success. It attracted over 6 million people, and they showed inventions such as the first public toilet and a diving bell. Queen Victoria was so amazed by it all that she kept going back so she wouldn't miss a thing. I think she went back 3 or 4 days in a row just to see everything. These days, expos are more about countries working together and sharing ideas to solve problems from around the world rather than showing off like they did back then. Now, here is some other dates that we've had expos. They've always been somewhere to show off some of the most amazing innovations over the years, and things that have become part of our everyday lives have been showcased at expos. So they take place roughly around every 5 years from the modern expo, but back in the day, they were whenever a country was able to hold one, they used to hold one. These are just a few years that they've been held. So let's have a look at some of the innovations that came out of these World Expos. So the first one we're going to look at is Philadelphia, 1876. Now, this was the first time a World Fair had been held in the United States of America. So back in the day, expos weren't called expos, they were called World Fairs. Alexander Graham Bell and his invention, the telephone, were the talk of the fair. Even the Emperor of Brazil tried it out. People were amazed that they could talk to each other from different places, something which we take for granted these days. So that was the telephone in 1876. The next one is the ice cream cone. Now this, you might not think of it as an innovation, but it actually was. It was showcased in St. Louis in 1904. The story goes like this. An ice cream seller at the fair was so busy, it must have been such a hot day, he was so busy, and he ran out of cups and spoons. On the stall next to him was a Syrian waffle maker named Ernest Hamwi. He had a fantastic idea to help out his friend, and he rolled up a waffle that he had just made and told the ice cream seller to scoop the ice cream into that. And voila, the ice cream cone was born. Such a simple innovation, but it's such a useful one that we still use today. The next innovation I want to tell you about is something that we all use, and that is television and TV broadcast. Now, this happened in New York in 1939. Television was introduced to the American people for the very first time at the World Fair that year. One of the broadcasts was one of the first broadcasts, was a speech by the then President Franklin Roosevelt. Imagine what it was like for the visitors to that expo, seeing television for the first time. In fact, a lot of people were really scared and they thought that the people were inside the box. Now, I have one short video to show you of another innovation that my colleague Kavisha will play for us now. It is another innovation that we use every single day. So I'm going to stop sharing, and Kavisha, if you wouldn't mind just playing that video, please.
Yes, of course. Just give me a second. Okay, and here we go.
Hopefully we'll get this video going in a second. But I just wanted to also touch base and let you know that other inventions and innovations that have been showcased at expos around the world are things like telescopes, things like touchscreens, and lots of other amazing things. So we're going to be talking about one story in particular as soon as we finish seeing this video. So let's hopefully we can get that going right now.
Can you see my video? Can you see this video?
No, not yet.
Oh, that's because it's I'm able to play the video. I'm not sure if you guys can see it.
Let me see if I can share it here from my end, Kavisha.
Okay, I'm playing it one more time. Let me see. Let me know if you can see it. Okay.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right.
So as you can see from that video, another innovation that was showcased to people around the world at that time was the zip. Now we use the zip for everything. So it's amazing to think that this was something that people hadn't seen before at one of these World Expos. And it was a revelation to them. So moving on, I said we were going to focus on one story in particular, and this is the story of something that I'm pretty certain all of you have used. And if you don't use it, you've seen someone. And if you haven't seen someone, I'm sure someone very close to you has it in their kitchen. This is the story of ketchup. Ketchup, you might be wondering, how is that an innovation? It's a food. Well, let me tell you the story. So, the Chinese have always been great inventors and innovators, and their sailors were no exception. To make their food taste better while they were at sea for a very, very long time, they created a sauce. Now, this sauce was made from fish, and it could help them to store their food for long, long journeys around the world. They called it kitsia. Now, Western sailors, and the British in particular, loved its salty flavor. It made their really bland food taste exciting. And in the 17th century, they began to bring it over to the West. People started to make their own versions of it using different ingredients like tomatoes, shellfish, mushrooms, celery, and lemons. Their goal was to make the perfect sauce. It had to be salty and spicy, sweet and sour. Now, In the late 1800s, an entrepreneur named Henry J Heinz decided to try and create his own recipe for catsup, and it had become called catsup by then. He took out many of the chemicals and the other ingredients that people had added to their recipes and used ripe red tomatoes instead. He also added a lot more vinegar than the other recipes, and so Heinz ketchup was born. He knew he was onto something good, and he had to find a way of telling people about his amazing new sauce. Luckily for him, in Chicago, 1893, it was hosting the World's Fair that year. He knew it was going to be difficult to make his mark. He had tried to introduce ketchup before at the World's Fair in Philadelphia in 1876, but hadn't been successful. He was going to have another go. At this fair, entrepreneurs from all over the world and the USA were there to showcase their businesses under the theme Discovery of America. So he had an even bigger challenge on his hands. Unfortunately for Henry, he was given a terrible location for his booth, a corner on the upper floor of the agriculture building. Now, no one goes to the agriculture building. He realized it would take some clever marketing to make people come to that part of the fair, and he came up with a brilliant plan. He prepared some tickets for a free souvenir from the Heinz booth. Then he hired some local boys to scatter the tickets all over the fair's ground. People found these tickets and made their way to his booth, where they discovered the sauce. Heinz's plan had paid off, and his sauce became a huge success. By 1905, Henry J. Heinz had sold around 5 million bottles of ketchup. Today, it's one of the most well-known brands found in every kitchen around the world. Henry Heinz didn't have to come up with a new invention. He made something that already existed even better. He innovated. Now let's move forward to Dubai and Expo 2020. What amazing new innovations and ideas do you think will be showcased at the Expo in Dubai in 2021? Will they become part of our everyday lives, just like the television and the mobile phone have? So let's have a think. Let's have a closer look at Expo itself. So here is our beautiful Expo site. Dubai won the bid to host the city on the 27th of November 2013, and to celebrate, fireworks erupted from the Burj Khalifa and everyone had the day off school. The theme that has been chosen for Expo 2020 is Connecting Minds, Creating the Future. Now, this theme is all about working together to make the world a better place. These are the stories that run all the way through, and it's what guides us with how we approach everything we do at Expo. Now, you might have noticed that just before I said that Expo 2020 is now going to be in 2021. And these are our new dates. The Expo is going to open to the public on the 1st of October 2021 and close on 31st of March 2022. So you'll have a whole 6 months to be able to come and see all the amazing things. The Expo site has been divided into 3 different districts, and each district has its own sub-theme: opportunity, mobility, and sustainability. And when you look at the site from above, it looks like a beautiful petal with flower with 3 petals. The dome that you can see in the center is called the Al Wasl Plaza, and it has more than 250 laser projectors. You'll be able to see images from inside, outside, and above. It's going to be absolutely spectacular. Now, one of the buildings that you'll be able to see when you visit is called the Sustainability Pavilion, or Terra. It's a fascinating building full of exciting innovations. In fact, it's actually more like a machine itself. The roof is covered in solar panels and will produce its own energy. It's going to produce enough electricity to charge up to 900,000 mobile phones. It's going to also collect its own water and feature a water tree which will collect water from the air. And it also has amazing energy trees that will generate electricity and produce shade for the visitors. It's one of the most environmentally friendly buildings on the Expo site. Now, you actually have a chance to come and see the Sustainability Pavilion, or Terra, right now with your families. You can book tickets to the pavilion's premiere from our website and get a sneak peek at the pavilion, and maybe a couple of others too. The pavilion is open Tuesdays to Saturdays until April 10th of this year, and I'll give you the website address to book your tickets at the end of this session. It's well worth a visit. I went the other day with my family and they loved it. Okay, Now, that's enough of me talking for a bit. We're gonna play a quick game to see if you can work out what innovations you might see at the country pavilions when you come to Expo in October. So let's see. Here's the first question. I would like you to, once I've asked the question, you can write your answers into the chat bar. So we'll give you enough time to have a discussion with your friends as well. So the question is, which one of these transport innovations will you be able to see at Expo 2020? Now, is it A, Hyperloop, or B, jetpack? You don't have to write the whole word. You can just write A or B as your answer if you prefer. So which one of these innovations will you be able to see at Expo 2020? So Kavisha, as we're getting some answers coming through, please let me know because I can't see the chat box, but please let me know what some of the participants are writing.
I'm laughing because there is a unanimous answer for option A. Like literally everybody's constantly typing in option A. There are very few people, actually, there are a few people who have done jetpacks as well, but I would say more or less the majority is Hyperloop.
Okay, so I imagine that's because most of us have heard of Hyperloop and it has been showcased at different exhibitions in the last few years as well. It's been in the news and the media quite a bit. So Hyperloop is very, very well known. And in fact, I'll give you the answer now. It is in fact both of them. Now, this is really interesting that not everyone thought the jetpack was going to be there. The Hyperloop, which is going to be able to take us from Dubai to Abu Dhabi in 12 minutes, using tubes with low air pressure to move trains with little or no friction, is such a well-known thing, which isn't why I'm not surprised that all of you thought it was going to be Hyperloop. I'm really excited to try it out whenever it does become a reality, but they are going to be showcasing some parts of it at Expo. But also, we are going to be showcasing a jetpack. Now, it's something that you usually just see in movies, but not anymore. In fact, Expo 2020 has teamed up with Jetman Dubai to develop something we call Mission Human Flight. The Jetman team will perform stunts with their jetpacks throughout the duration of Expo, and it's definitely going to be something worth coming to watch. So I'm very excited. You can actually, if you Google it, you will be able to see some videos. And if we have time at the end, I'll see if I can show you a quick video. But let's see how we go. Okay, now my next question. So if you're all ready, we'll move on to the next question. Which one of these cutting edge technologies will you see at Expo 2020? Is it 3D printing or an automatic homework completer? Now this one I think is going to be quite tricky. This might split our participants. Now, which one do you think it is? Is it A, 3D printing, or B, an automatic homework completer?
I would have loved to be if I was in school.
It would be amazing, right?
The answers, again, they're saying both. Definitely a lot of people are inclined towards B. I know why. I'd support that. But no, I think 3D printing is also something that the students are hoping for. So I'd say it's 50-50, Nisha.
50-50. Okay, so that's interesting. All right, so the answer is, in fact, it's 3D printing. I really wish that somebody would invent an automatic homework completer. Maybe after this session, one of you will be inspired to come up with something just like that. Maybe that's our goal for this. See if someone can be inspired enough to come up with an automatic homework completer. Now, there are actually two different types of 3D printing. This one in the picture here, this is called 3D bioprinting. And scientists and doctors have worked out how to use the technology to create different body parts like noses and ears, as you can see in the picture, and even heart valves for patients who need them using their own body tissue. And it's an amazing thing. It can save so many lives. It's a brilliant idea. But the one that most of us know about and have seen things about on TV maybe, or even physically, you might have one at home, is the standard 3D printing that you've seen before. This usually relies on plastic to create amazing objects such as models, toys, molds, and things like that. In fact, there are also some large-scale 3D printers that use concrete instead of plastic, and they print buildings The largest 3D printed 2-story building in the world is right here in Dubai, actually. Some 3D printing technology will also be showcased at an exhibition about young innovators from the UAE, which I'm now going to tell you a bit more about. So here are some pictures of some 3D printed innovations that we had on display in our visitor center. And we also have some of these on display now near the Sustainability Pavilion at the Pavilion's premiere. We asked students from all over the UAE to come up with innovations that would help someone or something in the world. Teachers and principals from their schools then nominated some of these ideas, and we've turned some of them into 3D printed prototypes or animations, and we've still got some more to do now. These are just some of them that will be featured in the exhibition. During Expo, you'll be able to visit the exhibition and see all of the different ideas that they came up with. We're going to show you a few in more detail. So here is one, I really love this one. This is a police robot that would allow the police officers to respond quickly to emergencies. Now, I think this looks very, very futuristic and cool. I would think it would be very, very nice to see some police robots patrolling the streets of Dubai. That would be amazing, wouldn't it, Kavisha? Do you think you would like to see that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It would be amazing.
And this one is also one of my favorites. It's actually called a Dolphin Alarm. It's to help marine wildlife like dolphins or whales from being trapped in fishermen's nets. The nets have an alarm attached to them and it sends out a signal. The dolphins and whales can hear this from quite a long way away and they stay away from the net. And it's a brilliant idea. It's such a good way of saving marine wildlife. So I have a couple of others I want to show you as well. So they weren't just physical prototypes that we created for some of these innovations, because some of them didn't suit being created by 3D printing. Some of them we created animations. And this one I'm going to show you now. It doesn't have any sound, but you'll be able to get an idea of what the innovation is for. This innovation is a brilliant idea. It is called the, let me see what it's called, the video printer. And what it does is it allows you to print videos directly onto paper, such as newspapers or books, and you can have an interactive experience while you're learning about the news. It's just like something you see out of Harry Potter, which is great. The other idea is also another printer, but this one is a slightly different purpose, and this one is called the inverse printer, inverse machine. And what it does is it takes paper that has already been printed on and you feed it into the machine and it strips it of all the ink so that you have a plain piece of paper at the end of it, which means that you don't have to throw away paper and we can recycle them. It's such an environmentally friendly idea, and I would love to see something like that turned into reality. Maybe one of you will grow up to be a scientist or an engineer who can actually create something like that. Now, unfortunately, this program has closed for submissions, but this is what we wanted to do today, is allow you to take part in some way and become a young innovator yourself, something you can do in school. And we're going to show you how now. So, but you will be able to share any of the innovations that you come up with after this with us on our social media channels. I'll share all the links with you at the end. So the first thing you need to know when you become a young innovator is something that all of the participants did at the very beginning as well. You have to follow a process to make sure that your idea is going to work. And at Expo, we've put this process down in a really simple way so that everyone can follow it. It's called the Expo way. Let's understand how you, the young innovators, can use it. The first thing you need to do is connect. Now that's about communication. So that's the key to this. The first thing you need to be able to do is communicate effectively. Then you need to imagine. And this is about empathy. Now, empathy means just to understand how other people are feeling or being able to show that you care. The next thing you need to be able to do is innovate. Now, this is using your imagination. And I'm sure all of you have an amazing imagination. I'm sure your teachers will be testament to that as well. Imagination could be anything. And the final thing you need to do is be creative and create your final piece, which again, I'm sure all of you will be able to do. So if you follow these 4 steps, you'll be able to come up with some amazing ideas. Now, remember, innovations can help one person, it can help a group of people, or it could help a global challenge. And anyone can be an innovator. So let's innovate. I want you to meet my dad. His name's Dino, and there he is in his very cool shirt. He lives in London in the UK, and he's now 77 years old. Because of his age, he's begun to struggle with everyday activities, and he's finding it harder and harder to complete some of them. So I try to check in on him every now and then and see how he's doing. Here's a film about that I made, and I used the Expo way to come up with an innovation to help him with one of the activities he does. As we go through it, see which parts of the Expo way are used in that video. So Kavisha, if you wouldn't mind just playing that video, please, I'll stop sharing.
Yes. Just give me 1 second.
So remember, when you're watching this video, I want you to think about 4 steps of the Expo way. Which one did I use? Or what, more than one, maybe.
Okay, let's start. I hope you guys can see my video.
Yes, we can see it. Okay, so that amazing video with my amazing acting skills there.
It was really nice.
Thank you. If you don't mind stopping sharing that, Kavisha, I'll share the PowerPoint again.
Yes, of course. There you go.
Great, thank you. Okay, so back to my dad. So as you can see, he had a few issues that he was struggling with, and I went through a process in that video to see if I could help him. So let's see, just to reiterate at the end, this is called the formula for good. So I decided that I was going to help my dad to go for a walk by creating a safety scooter with a seat. So that was the outcome of the video. Now, I asked you to have a think about which innovations, which parts of the Expo Way are used to come up with that part. So the parts I used were the connect, imagine, and innovate stages of the Expo Way. I decided what innovation I was going to create. It's important to go through those stages to make sure that we are creating an innovation that is really, really needed by that person we are trying to help. And once you have that innovation, an idea, you can remember that the idea I came up with this was the safety scooter with a seat. Then it's time to actually move on to the next stage, which is the final part of the Expo Way, and that's called create. So that's what I did next. We have to turn our innovation into a design. So we have to make it into a reality in some way. So how would it look and things like that, so that other people understand our idea. And over the years, people have used fancy diagrams and drawings to show their innovations, labeling every tiny little piece about it to show all the workings. Others have just simply sketched an idea quickly onto something that they have at hand, like a napkin. And this is what I did. I thought about what I wanted it to look like, the different elements that I wanted to include in the design, and even I thought about the materials that I wanted to put in there, to use for it. And here is my final napkin sketch. So as you can see, I have now given it a name as well. It's called the Triple S Safety Scooter Seat. So what do you think? What I would like you to do is, amongst your classmates or on your own, is to think about the answers to these questions I have here. What do you think about my design? What do you like about it? What would you change about it? And do you think it will work? So let's see if any of the participants have got any answers for us, Kavisha.
All right, a few answers are coming in. A lot of people are saying lovely video, really interesting. They do say that it's going to work, really like the creativity. It's labeled, so it's like very easy to understand which part is what. Love it. They say they love the design.
Oh.
So congratulations, Nisha.
Thank you. I've come up with an amazing innovation. Thank you, everyone.
Says,
well,
very, very innovative. I loved it. It's fantastic. Your diagram. Wow, they have really analyzed your diagram.
Well, that was what I was hoping for, Kavisha, because that's something when you do this part of this, the Expo Way, when you come to do this part and create your design, you can use these 3 questions to actually challenge yourself and make your design better. So whatever you draw first doesn't have to be the final design. You can look at these questions and analyze it. You could ask your friends to even get involved, and maybe they could give you some feedback, just like I've asked you for feedback. And that will help you to design an even better innovation. And if you're doing this as a group, then it could also be something that you discuss between yourselves or other groups. So it's a really good way of making your innovation as good as it can possibly be. So
one interesting observation somebody has said, I just wanted to add it, is I would add a seat belt. There's a child who's saying that.
I would have to agree with you there. That is something I didn't add, and I think that is one improvement that would be definitely needed. Yes, a seatbelt. Agreed. I think one time I showed this to someone else, and they said maybe a rain cover as well. So you can start getting really technical and adding so many bits and pieces onto it. But that's something that you're going to try to use these questions to do, is to make your innovation as good as it can possibly be. So after you've got your design, what comes next? Well, now you need to make your prototype. So Kavisha, if you wouldn't mind, there is another video that I've made of how I made a prototype of my safety scooter seat, the Triple S. So I'll just stop sharing.
Yes, the video is coming your way. And okay, I hope you can see this video. Okay, let's go
Yes.
for it. Sorry, it's just taking. Just give me a second.
So again, this is something that you can do afterwards. Oh, there doesn't seem to be any sound. Okay. So as you can see, this was a process that I did in my house. And I just used any materials that I could find around. And we recycle in our house. So we had to hand lots of cardboard and tubes and boxes. And then I gathered a few other stationery items that would be useful. And that's what I used to create my amazing scooter, the Triple S. Of course, if you have more technical items there, if you have small basic electronics and things like that, you could even create a slightly more working prototype if you're able to. And you can ask adults for help with this. It doesn't have to be something you do on your own. But as you can see, once I'd finished creating it, I decided to decorate it as well. I wanted it to be something eye-catching and inviting that somebody would want to use if it was a real prototype. And there it is, the final finished safety scooter with seat, the Triple S.
It's so nice. I love it. I love the idea, and I love how you put this through. And I'm getting those comments as well that it's really done nicely. Love the decoration. But it's a really nice idea, and I think we can, Nisha. There is some way that you can patent this.
I think I've come up with something amazing here. I do. I really do, Kavisha. Maybe we could go into business together and attempt to create something like this. But I'm sure all of the participants today will also be able to create something amazing. So here's a closer look at my final prototype, the Triple S. I tried to include as many of the elements as I could from my design. Obviously, it's not always possible when it comes to this sort of a prototype. This is actually called a low fidelity or lo-fi prototype. So it doesn't mean what it means is it's not a working prototype all the time, and it's usually made of materials, like I said, that you can find around you, any junk modeling or recycling materials. In reality, of course, something that was a safety scooter would have to be made of metal or carbon fiber, something strong enough to take a person's weight. Now, we would really, really like you to go through all of the stages that you've seen me go through here. So taking the Expo way and using that to come up with an innovation that's going to help someone or something. We'd like you to create your napkin sketch, and if you have the time as well, to create a prototype and then share it with us on our social media channels. Just to remind you as well, you can use your formula for good to help you with the process. So the first part is I'm helping, and then that's where you write who or who you're helping. So that could be an individual person, a group, or a global challenge. Then the next part is what you're going to be helping them with. What aspect are you going to try and fix or enhance or make better? And then the final part is creating, and that's what you are going to do. So what is your innovation? So that will help you to keep focus as well when you're going through these stages. Now, you can do the same as I did, or using sticky notes on a wall. You can use paper to write it all out. The choice is yours. It's entirely up to you how you want to go through that process. But also remember that it doesn't have to be a physical innovation that you come up with, something physical like the safety scooter. It doesn't have to be that. It could also be a helpful video. So maybe a video that shows people how to get access to some sort of resource. It could also be an inspiring song. It could be a poem. or it could even be an amazing piece of art. Innovation doesn't have to be something physical. It could be any one of these things. So the possibilities are completely limitless, and use your imagination. I'm sure you'll be able to create something wonderful. Now we're nearly finished. I just want to show you one more innovation here. This is an innovation that I asked my son Harry to come up with. He went through the Expo way, used the four steps of the Expo way, and he came up with this amazing innovation. It's his. He wanted to help the cleaners in the malls, and he realized that sometimes they have to be in lots of places at the same time, especially when it's busy. And he decided that he would create an automatic cleaning machine that could be remote controlled and that would work for 2,000 hours on one battery charge. He called it the Auto Cleaner 2000. By using the Auto Cleaner 2000, cleaners can attend any cleanups quicker and more efficiently. That's what his description was. And I think that's a great innovation, don't you? He even actually created a prototype. So there it is, next to his napkin sketch. He used some more things that we had around the house, and he created his own prototype as well. So make sure that if you are going to use any materials around your house, that you have permission to use them. And also that if you need any help with cutting or sticking, please ask older siblings or your parents or guardians to help you with that. So that make this something that you can do together. Be as creative as you can, and we'd love to see photos or even videos of your napkin sketch and your prototype innovation. And you can share it with us, as I said, on our social media. Ask your older siblings or parents to help you with this. And this is where you can share it with us. So you can share it on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook using the tags @Expo 2020 Schools and #Expo School Program. You can find out more about the Young Innovators initiative at our website, schools.expo2020dubai.com. And if you're interested in getting tickets for the Pavilion's premiere, you can go to our main website, expo2020dubai.com, and that's where you can find all of the information and buy the tickets. So I would like to finally just say thank you to Kavisha for helping me through this presentation, but more importantly, thank you to all of you for being partners with us here today and becoming young innovators today as well. We really can't wait to see some of the innovations that you come up with. Thank you very much, and hopefully we'll see you again the next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you everybody. Thank you, Nisha, for this wonderful session. Please do remember to tag us on social media when you do your innovations. So it's at Expo 2020 Schools. So just do your innovations and tag us onto it. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye, everyone.